Welcome to my ultimate simplified Deadpool tutorial, where we'll be looking at the 3 roles he has as a duelist, strategist, and vanguard, and looking at the differences between all of his movesets and his 3 roles. There will be timestamps down below for you to keep track of where each slot is at, but I encourage you to watch through the entire video so that you can see all of everything I have to show you guys. We'll be going through his abilities, playstyle, and some of his combos, and then a few helpful tips at the end. So again, make sure to stick around so I can show you those and enjoy. And I will also let you guys know that I do stream live on Twitch a few times a week at twitch.tv/VixTV if you're interested to see more Deadpool content. Alright, the first mechanic I want to talk about is the upgrade/level up mechanic, which is the only one in this game, and what it does is it slowly levels up Deadpool as he is idle or just around the game, but then as you start shooting or get kills, it also boosts that more than regularly just running around. And this ability lets you, once you finish upgrading it, turns it into a ability that you can press whatever your bind is, and it will open up a menu that lets you select from a bunch of different abilities that you can upgrade throughout the match, and it will not reset when you die. You can upgrade each of the abilities one time in the comic until you reach max level with Deadpool, and certain abilities can change depending on what class of Deadpool you're playing as. Another important difference between each of the classes of Deadpool is that the Duelist and Strategist versions have 250 HP each, while the Vanguard version has 500 HP. Deadpool's first passive is a sort of healing factor where if he's not taking damage for a short amount of time, he will regain health naturally. And the other part of his healing factor is that if he takes a lot of damage at one time, like an Iron Man out, he can become briefly invincible. His second passive ability changes how his ultimate works by leveling it up from E tier to S tier, which is just a visual difference between the other ultimates, but the big change between this ultimate and other ones is that you cannot keep it after you die. So if you have it fully charged or any way charged, it will completely reset after you die. Deadpool's primary fire is his 2 Desert Eagles. His Vanguard and Duelist do about the same amount of damage, but his Strategist form does about half the damage that it does in the other 2 forms. But the Strategist has the added benefits of being able to shoot his teammates to heal him, and it will pierce through multiple teammates. After upgrading Deadpool's pistols, it turns him to a gold color, upgrades the ammo max from 30 to 40, and makes a poop emoji appear next to his head that, once built up all the way, will shoot a bomb wherever you're aiming that will explode on enemies. This will be the same for Strategist Deadpool, but instead of only being able to do damage, you will also be able to shoot healing bombs at your teammates. Deadpool's other primary fire is his Katanas, which lets him do melee damage up close. His damage is also much higher in the Duelist form compared to the Vanguard and Strategist forms. His Katanas can also do extra headshot damage while jumping and aiming at the opponent's head. While in Strategist form, the Katanas cannot heal your teammates directly, but if you attack enemies, it'll make an AoE healing field that can heal your teammates if they're nearby. While using Deadpool's secondary fire with his gun equipped, will throw a boomerang head that will fly out and come back to you, and after upgrading it, it will make it come back a total of 3 times without you having to recharge it. Along with that, it will also explode on the 3rd spin, which will make it do AoE damage. And in Strategist form, it will heal and damage whoever's in the area. In Vanguard form, the secondary changes to be a shield that blocks all incoming damage. Once upgraded, the shield will also make whoever's inside of it invincible, kind of like a Loki lantern. With Deadpool's Katanas equipped, his secondary fire becomes completely different. In the Vanguard role, after he attacks, he can dash 2 more times into the enemy before the cooldown being taken away, but after being upgraded, the ability gets an additional charge, essentially making 6 dashes instead of 3. If you don't hit all the dashes in the chain, the dash will end early and you'll have to wait for the next cooldown. Duelist Deadpool's secondary starts with 2 charges, so then he can have 6 at the beginning. But once this ability is upgraded, it gains him infinite charges as long as he hits his opponents consecutively. Lastly, the support role starts with 2 charges of dashes, but does not grant any extra for hitting the dash in the first place. But once it's upgraded, it will give you the extra back, so you'll essentially have 6 dashes just like the Vanguard. This ability also gives AoE effect of healing for any teammates in the area. For every class, this ability slowly does damage for every enemy in the area, along with giving different buffs depending on what class you're using. For Vanguard Deadpool, the upgrade gives him attack speed increase for his primary fires, which makes him attack a lot quicker. And the upgrade gives him damage reduction for himself and any allies in the area, along with blinding the enemies that are in the area. For Duelist Deadpool, the only buff he gets at base level is damage reduction in the area. But once this ability is upgraded, it gives the Deadpool effects on the screen for the enemies, which can make it really hard for them to see. And lastly, for the strategist role, the base ability gives slow healing over time and the damage that was in all the other abilities. But once upgraded, this ability does the Deadpool effects on the screen, as well as giving you and your teammates that are in the area a damage boost. This is Deadpool's extra jump ability that lets him bounce on enemies, and for the strategist role, you can even bounce on teammates to heal them. And the duelist role can jump on enemies to gain bonus health, but the max can only be 300. You can also use this ability to jump up walls and gain height, but make sure you're right on the wall or whatever you're trying to jump on, because if not, it will cancel and you'll have to wait for the cooldown to come back. While doing his skill issue ultimate, if the target that's marked misses an attack, they'll do damage to themselves. When the duelist role is upgraded, they'll take more damage from the ult and they'll even become vulnerable when missing their shots. Vanguard Deadpool gains additional bonus HP and healing, and when the enemy misses their attacks, Deadpool also gains more bonus HP. The base ult in the support role does not do damage over time, but once it's upgraded, it does do damage over time. The area of effect also heals you and your allies over time, and then when it's upgraded, it boosts the healing that you get over time. Deadpool's ult has multiple sections to it. The first section is where you have to get a certain amount of jumps on an enemy or dashes onto an enemy to activate a bonus stage where you get amplified abilities depending on what role you are. The Duelist and Vanguard Deadpool both require 5 to unlock the bonus stage, but the Strategist role requires 7. For Duelist Deadpool, he gains bonus speed and some extra healing. And if you upgrade his ultimate in the book, he gains additional damage when using his ultimate. If you make it to the bonus stage, it'll reset all of your cooldowns. Like Duelist Deadpool, Vanguard Deadpool will get a speed and healing boost, as well as getting bonus health for him and his allies. And the bonus phase also resets your cooldowns. Specialist Deadpool's ult only heals him and his teammates, but once he unlocks the bonus phase, it does more healing and gives him and his allies bonus health. So one useful tip I'd mention is that when you're jumping on someone's head, each time you jump, it upgrades your ultimate by a whole level. So it would only take a few jumps on someone to be able to get your ultimate. And this works for any role that you're in as Deadpool, whether you're healing or not. I think it's probably the most strategic to use it on healers because you're going to need a lot of healer ults. And if you can do that really quick repeatedly, you can constantly have healer ults. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the upgrade chart, where you can choose your upgrades. It doesn't really matter which order you choose it in, it's kind of up to personal preference, but I personally would start with your E ability or maybe your secondaries because those are the most powerful. You're going to want to start with ones that you know you're going to use so that you can upgrade them to be efficient. The same thing goes for ultimates, just choose which one you're going to use more based on personal preference. If you're not going to use one of the ultimates, don't waste your upgrade points on them until maybe you're max level. The last tip I had is more like a playstyle where you're going to want to play the roles like the roles. Even though they're all Deadpool, they're not the same roles. Since Deadpool has so little health and he has all the jumps, he feels to me more like a flank type of character rather than a straight DPS, like standing right in front of everybody, but like the tank is definitely a tank. Like tanks play by staying around their teammates and supporting them. You don't want to run off into their backline because you're going to get killed, especially because you have slightly lower damage than DPS and you're better with your team. And the support role feels underwhelming for damage. You feel like when you're playing Deadpool, you feel a lot more powerful than you are with damage in the support role. So you want to play Deadpool like a support, not like you can't go flank, because then your team's going to be left with one healer and then you most likely are going to die, or at least let your team die. So the way you play him is definitely important. I've seen a lot of people say that Strategist Deadpool is like the best, but I think it depends more on the playstyle, because if you play him in the wrong playstyle, it won't be good. So you have to do whatever's best for you. Alright guys, we made it. That's my simplified guide to Deadpool. If there's any other comments or questions you have, feel free to drop them down in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe so I know what kind of content you guys like to see. And don't sweat not knowing how to play Deadpool immediately. He's probably one of the most complicated characters we've had introduced in the game with all his abilities and different movesets. Every time they have a character come out, it feels more and more complicated, so I don't know what the next character will be. But thank you for watching to the end, and you guys have a good one.